Welcome again to Rising Stories Podcast. I have a new episode today. I'm Corrine Sandifer, your host, and each week I invite you to listen as I chat with business owners and authors about the dynamics of building and running a business and how these writers became published authors. We also delve into topics that we can all relate to, such as work-life balance, living with intention, and dreaming big. As these women share their stories with us, it's my hope that you will be encouraged to live out your own story. So please spread the word and tell a friend about this podcast. Also, if you wouldn't mind heading over to iTunes and leaving me a review, hopefully a good one. And this is important because it helps others find this podcast. So I would love for you to go over and do a review and leave me some stars on iTunes. And don't forget to follow me on Instagram and Twitter. I'm at Corrine Sandifer on Instagram and on Twitter. So today's episode is going to be a little bit different because I'm going to share with you about a trip that I took to the Silicon Valley area of California. A few weeks ago, I landed in California in San Jose, and might I add that San Jose Airport and their transit system is amazing. I walked off the plane, went right to, of course I had my carry-on, went right to the area where the public transit is. I went across the street, hopped on a free bus, kind of a trolley or something, a kind of a city bus, and it took me right to the CalTrain Silicon Valley, like San Jose to San Francisco train. And it was a rural train. This is different for me because although I'm a city girl, we have one train in Nashville, and it really goes from point A to point B, and not a whole lot of people use it, I don't think, or they hadn't in the past, and it's not in my area, so I don't use it. Public transit in my area is not as popular as it is in California, so I landed in California. The reason being is that I was to join about 75 other women who are coming from 17 countries across the globe, including China and Poland and El Salvador, Pakistan, India, Malaysia, Japan, to gather for the third annual Lean In Regional Leaders Conference in Palo Alto, California. And of course, if you know the book Lean In, Women, Work, and the Will to Lead, and option B, the author is Sheryl Sandberg. She is Facebook's COO and the author of both of those books. I joined this conference as a regional leader representing Nashville Lean In, which includes over 120 members with two circles, one called STEM-WARE and the other one is the group that I started, which is Lean In Brentwood. The reason I began this group and was the founder is after reading the Lean In book, I got so inspired to help other women reach their highest level potential in the workplace and really anywhere, as an entrepreneur, as a small business owner, and even as a mom. If you want to stay at home with your kids, I feel like you should have the opportunity, and you shouldn't feel bad about that, and you shouldn't feel bad about working. You should work and do what is best for you and your family. And I think that breaking that glass ceiling with salary and the fact that Sheryl Sandberg tells us that our careers should look more like a jungle gym rather than a ladder I totally agree with that. And so I joined all of these leaders from across the world, and each of them brought fresh and new views on how to help women lean in. And of course, that is my passion, to encourage women to be the best and to encourage women to feel empowered. And boy, did I feel empowered during this weekend. Some of their stories ranged from, I met a plumber who is working in a man's world, obviously, as a plumber in New York City. She is one who, I guess, pushed to be one of the first women plumbers in the union, which is a major, major thing. And also a couple of people from El Salvador who are supporting women who are isolated, and they are giving them a place to share their voices in El Salvador. So Sheryl Sandberg, who is Facebook's COO, began leanin.org as a mission to empower women to achieve their ambitions. Now there are 33,000 Lean In circles in over 150 countries. And research shows that, you feel more comfortable and you're able to accomplish more when you are in a group, right? And so these Lean In circles are small peer groups and they meet regularly. I know my group meets monthly and we share stories with each other. We kind of pose questions. We always have a table topic and we talk about things that are pertinent and information that is going to be helpful to continue to grow as people, as women, as family members. They come together to empower each other. And now research has showed that 85% of members credit their circle with a positive change in their life. So Lean In is changing lives, and they are in cities, on campuses, in corporations around the world. So if you're interested, I'm going to put a link in the show notes for you to find out how to find a Lean In circle near you. So I landed in San Jose, got on these buses, went straight to the CalTrain, got on the train, went through all of these tiny cities like Mountain View and I think Menlo Park. And I think we ended up landing in, it was either Palo Alto or Redwood City. I think we were going to Redwood City. What's interesting about this trip that I took was that I connected with a new friend, and she is from Milan. And she leads and helps lead the Lean In circles there in Milan for leanin.org. So we met, two strangers, but we had that connection of wanting to help other women be the best that they could be and to break that gender salary gap and bring that together, and also to just connect and find out how we could get our circles and our chapters to work better and to reach more people, to get the word out about the Lean In movement. So a funny story is that we met and we checked into our hotel, and she said, before we go to this meeting, I would love to see Facebook. And I was like, that's great. Me too. So we decided to go on a Lyft. We took a Lyft, and it's kind of like Uber. And we asked them to take us, we put in the address and we ended up landing at Facebook. Unbeknownst to us, Facebook is like Fort Knox. You can't really go in. You can get there unless you have a meeting or something, which we could have called a couple of people and could have gotten in, but we had just landed. So we just wanted to see the building. And of course, the weather is gorgeous there. So the whole day, there was no rain. We just plenty of sunshine and great 75-degree weather, which is a blessing. I hope they know that in California. So we landed there. I took a couple of pictures of us standing in front of the thumbs up marquee that they have out there. It was really fun. So then it was time to head to our meeting. And we summoned another Lyft. And you can, I don't know if you've ever done Uber or Lyft, but you can kind of see the little cars. It's almost like a little game. You can see them on your phone as they're getting near you, your location. You can see the car. You can tell what color it is. They tell you all the details, which is fun to look at. And we saw that the car was near us, but we couldn't see him, couldn't find him. And we were like, why isn't it picking us up? It almost felt like we were in this dark hole, because that driver ended up canceling the pickup. So in other words, they're like, sorry, we're not picking you up. And so then we summoned another one and ordered another Lyft. And that one didn't work out, they were still sort of circling the building, which was really odd. I mean, we could see them just driving around and not getting to us. And we kept moving, trying to get exactly where they were, and it just wasn't working. So we were like, this is crazy. So we ended up canceling that because it was going to be the same thing and they were going to cancel on us. So we were like, okay, obviously this is not going to work out. So that's my story of how we were stuck at Facebook and we couldn't leave. So we ended up walking a couple blocks to a Starbucks, sat down, ordered another. We ended up ordering an Uber. We thought, well, we'll change. Not that Lyft isn't better, that Uber's better than Lyft. I think they're both sort of equally fine. But thought we would try another company and see if they could get to us. They finally did, and we made it to our meeting. So we arrived at our meeting, which was actually an extension of the Lean In conference. So we all arrived there early to connect with others and get well acquainted with our mission and maybe just finding out what it is that we wanted to take from the conference. So it was a great opportunity, and I'm so thankful to Linda Brandt who put it all together and helped us connect with each other before the conference. One of the things that we did during the conference was we filled out a piece of paper that says, I am a leader because. And I love that question. I love that she had this, piece of paper and all it said was, I'm a leader because, and for us to fill it out and fill in the blank. It was a great exercise to figure out why we were leaders and what our purpose was. There's just so much that we could add to that piece of paper. And I'll show my answers in the show notes. I have pictures of it, and you can see the rest of the group and all of their faces and wonderful faces. So it was a great time to connect before we started the conference. The conference started off with a major superstar, in my opinion. She was Dr. Jen Welter, and she's the first woman to coach in the NFL. Oh my gosh, she was so good. I loved listening to her because she shared her story with us, and it helped us see that we can be all women. We can be just exactly who we are and thrive in that type of environment, thrive no matter what or where we are or what positions we're holding. And who knew that a female could dream of becoming the first woman to coach in the NFL? I mean, I think she said she wasn't even dreaming that high because no one had broken that path. And so she was the first one. So she encouraged us to dream above and beyond what we see before us. So my encouragement to you via Dr. Welter is you may not even think of something that you will be or that you will attain because it might not be in front of you. It might even not exist. Maybe it doesn't exist yet. So think about that and what your goals are. The next time you're setting goals for yourself, think about Dr. Jen Welter, the first woman to coach in the NFL. The next speaker we heard from was the New York Times best-selling author Dave Evans. He helped us design our thinking and write our future stories. He gave us this great template, and we got together with a partner and shared where we wanted to go, what we were projecting our future to be, and also what we would do if money wasn't an object, or we could do whatever we wanted to do, or what happens if your job is done and you can't go back to it. What would you do? It was such a great exercise, and I loved connecting with others on this and encouraging. I think there was 3 of us in a group, and just encouraging each other yeah, you should do that. I mean, just all these great ideas came out of us, and it was a great exercise to connect us more to each other, which is what happened, and also to think a little bit further about our dreaming and how we could make those dreams possible. I think a lot of us came away with some aha moments that we will probably start putting legs to that and letting it go into our reality. So if that makes sense to you, I'm kind of going on crazy, but it was so much fun to do that exercise with Dave Evans. Our next speaker was Deborah Grunfeld. She's a Stanford professor, and she gave us an overview of her latest research on the effective use of power, our influence, and how body language works, and how we could tell our powerful story with just our body language. There is more to what she had to say. She has a book coming out, and I'm telling you, her information and research that she's done, just amazing how she has put this together and is going to help people feel empowered, but also understand our position, like how we need to conduct ourselves in meetings. So if you see her, I will try to post some information on the show notes about Deborah and her book, because it's a must. In fact, I'll do a review or something when it comes out. It hasn't come out yet, but she just has so much information. I mean, I attribute to her, like I kind of connect with her as I connect with Brene Brown. I mean, she's that great of a researcher. So you've got to check her out. So I'm going to continue my overview of the conference. We also heard from Jackie Jones, who is the head of strategic partnerships for diversity, inclusion, and belonging at LinkedIn. I'm telling you, I was like fangirling her. I was like, whoa, you work at LinkedIn? That's so cool. So just heard from her and how we could improve our LinkedIn accounts, what we should do and not do. I loved all her great tips, and I'll be sharing some of those in some new episodes to come. So stay tuned. And then Megan Rooney, who is, I believe she's a staffer at Lean In, but she was also a top speech writer who wrote some political speeches for some pretty famous people during the Obama presidency. I'm not sure if I'm at liberty to share like all the people that she wrote speeches for, but I'm telling you, there are big names. So she is an amazing person, and I think that she will probably be writing something. So be on the lookout for Megan Rooney. She's going to be doing some great things. I'm hoping that she'll come on the show and you'll be able to hear firsthand about her life and her story. So I'm super excited about that. Of course, the main event of this whole thing, besides connecting, I feel like the main event was connecting with these women, but the main event was when we all shared a meal with Sheryl Sandberg herself. Talk about fangirling, if that's a word, I'm using it. Her presence was like calming and electrifying all at the same time. And I mean, she gave this amazing pep talk to us that just, I'd like to keep for myself, to just continue to be encouraged by what she's done and how she began this movement and how she is continuing to fan this flame of leanin.org and helping these women all across the globe to move into their own and to be the best that they can be in their work and with their families and whatever it is, that they have our support. So that's really what Lean In is all about. And I was just privileged to be there, alongside all of these other super powerhouse women that are leaning in, and you could just tell that these women care about each other and about empowering us, together and making a difference in this world. So that's my account of my experience at the Lean In conference in Palo Alto, California. I was thrilled and honored to have been invited to join in with these men and women from all over the world. And the fact that we all had that one common goal was to empower women. And as I've said, to connect with each other and to grow our circles so that other women could also feel empowered. So I leave you with this. And if you are driving, if you want to pull over and write this down, or if you just want to make yourself a mental note to check the show notes and the little description, I'll have some more stuff underneath the iTunes description. But here is the question from Sheryl Sandberg, and that is, what would you do if you weren't afraid? Such a powerful question, such a simple question, but yet thinking about that and answering that for yourself, not for anyone else, but for yourself, is a powerful thing. So take that with you. And you know what? Would you mind sharing with me, either commenting on a post that you've seen with this podcast, or find me on Twitter. I'm at Corrine Sandifer. Find me on Instagram. You'll see the post from the podcast and the conference. Message me some way and tell me that you've answered this question for yourself. Give me a short, like 1 or 2 line answer, or just say, hey, I answered your question. This really made me think, and I'm so glad that you shared this with me. Just let me know that you're listening and what you thought. I just can't wait to hear you guys' answers on this question. So thanks so much for listening. Again, connect with me on Twitter. I'm at Corrine Sandifer. On Instagram, the same. On Facebook, I have a Facebook page that is my name, and it's also Brentwood Life Coach, which is my business, and Rising Stories. So if you Google all that, you'll end up right where I am. And check the show notes at CorrineSandifer.com under podcast, because I'm going to put in some great videos so that you can also experience some of these wonderful, wonderful speakers that we had at the conference. It isn't from the conference, but they have some things out there, and I really want to share that with y'all. So make sure you go to CorrineSandifer.com to find out more about these speakers. So thanks so much for joining, and keep rising in your own story.